Hello everyone. Today I'm going to start with the first topic of biology, that is reproduction in organisms. This one chapter helps us in understanding what is reproduction, as well as it also tells us different modes of reproduction in any organism. Above all, I would like to explain this chapter by talking about the events involved during this type of a reproduction, either asexual or sexual. So let's begin with it. Reproduction, if I talk about, is basically a biological process in which any individual give rise to an offspring. What does it mean? It means that again production. That means any organism is having a capability of producing a new organism of its own type. Only and only when the organism shows biological maturity. This term implicates that any organism is having the capability to show reproduction only when their body and their hormonal secretion activity is normal. Anyways, when we talk about further in the reproduction, we can say that this reproduction mechanism occurs by two types. Either it occurs through asexual reproduction or it occurs through sexual reproduction. What is the difference between the two? Let's discuss. Asexual reproduction. If I divide this word from here, I understand that the organism shows this type of a reproduction when they do not require any type of a specialized cells. In the case of asexual reproduction, we can say that only and only mitosis reaction or activities takes place. It is what? Mitosis is basically a process of cell division in which the daughter cells do not show any genetic variability from their parent cell. In the same manner, if we talk about sexual reproduction, it is a process in which both the mechanisms run together in the reproductive organs. What is happening in this one? One is the mitosis, as remain, there is no genetic variability. But in case of meiosis, when the cells start developing and forming the gametes, they will start showing the variations, and it is just occurs because of the meiosis. So I hope you can understand what is mitosis and what is meiosis and how it is related with the sexual as well as asexual reproduction. Now I would like to start with the next major topic, that is asexual reproduction. What is asexual reproduction? It is a type of reproduction in which single parent is required. Any single individual of any species, if develops a capability of producing a new plantlet or any offspring, then we said that they are showing the reproduction through asexual modes. In this, the second most important activity that is responsible for indicating is no gamete formation. Here there is no haploid cell formation takes place. As a result, there is no fertilization, no variation. So the organism which is produced through this mode is always be known as clone or identical to their parents. We can say that asexual reproduction can be defined or expressed through different ways, like with the help of binary fission or different other modes. I am going to explain you how asexual reproduction occurs. Binary fission. Fission means breakdown. Binary means two. As a result of the breakdown of a parent cell, the two new organisms produced which are completely identical to their parents. How it is, you just see here. Like in case of amoeba or paramecium, the mature amoeba first go for elongation of the nucleus. That means their genetic material is going to duplicate themselves, and after that they will go for the process of karyokinesis. What is karyokinesis? It means the breakdown of the nucleus. Once the karyokinesis ends, the mechanism of cytokinesis begins. What is cytokinesis? It is a process in which cytoplasmic content also divides. This karyokinesis is always followed by the cytokinesis, and as a result, two daughter amoebae are developed. In the same manner, if we talk about the process or concept of budding, we can say that budding is a process in which bud formation is the initial step. Like in Eastern Hydra, you can see here the parent Hydra is having this type of a structure. Once they start undergoing the process of asexual reproduction or budding, they protrude a small structure which is responsible for developing a new organism. The bud start developing tentacles or hypostome. As the same, the parent organism is carrying these type of tentacles. In the same manner, they are going to develop first these tentacles, and once they mature themselves, then they make a basal disc. This is a disc-like structure which make them to get detached from the parent body, and finally the parent as well as the bud, they both will survive as a two new individuals. In the same manner, when we talk about conidia formation, you can see here it is shown by mostly with the penicillium or any of the funguses. In this, what is happening, the hyphae which is present in the fungus, the topmost region of the hyphae starts swelled up. Once they start swelling up, they start undergoing the process of multiple cell division. That multiple cell division leads to the formation of conidias. These conidias, mature one is on the top and the initial one at the bottom of the vesicle. Once these structures are being formed, during the unfavorable condition, they will exist in form of these conidias. And when the favorable condition turns back, these conidias start showing the germination process and develop the new funguses. Now, after that, there are many different ways through which organism shows asexual reproduction. But in the plants, when we talk about, there is a major activity we have noticed that is known as vegetative propagation. What is exactly the vegetative propagation? It is the process of developing the vegetative parts for producing new plantlets. It is a self-capability shown by any plant from any part. Those parts which get modified by themselves and developing the new plantlets, that will known be as a different structures. Like in case of ginger, you can see rhizomes. In case of onion, it is known as pulp. In case of ranas, it is known as suckers, and many more. So these structures develop themselves into a modified manner and then start forming the new plantlets. Since it is a natural process, hence this type of a vegetative propagation is known as natural vegetative propagation. There is a one technique is also developed from it, is known as plant tissue culture. This is a technique since developed by the humans for the benefit of developing different varieties of plants. That's why this technique is known as an artificial way of vegetative propagation. This artificial particular content is totally depends upon the concept of totipotency. What is totipotency? Toti means total potential. Total potency means potential. That means the capability of any particular part of a plant responsible to develop a new organism or a plantlet. If we select that part, separate them from the plant and process them in the lab under the specific conditions, like providing them nutrients as well as providing them different types of hormones to develop new plants, then that particular activity is technique steps of the plant tissue culture. In the plant tissue culture, the basic and the most important step is the callus formation. What is callus? Callus is the undifferentiated mass of cell which, on getting the hormonal presence or different types of a nutrient presence, they start developing the different parts or different structures of plant. Like they help in the development of shoots, they can develop as a root. That means they can specialize themselves. So this callus is a very specific step, you can say it's a step or a particular structure helpful for showing drastic changes through plant tissue culture. Now in our country or various countries, different three basic techniques are being followed for under plant tissue culture. One is micropropagation, that means small parts of the plant is selected. They are usually the meristematic part, maybe the root or shoot tip, maybe the nodes, maybe the primordial structures. They will be first selected, processed in the labs, make them they're ready for the callus formation, and after callus formation we start providing them hormones to develop shoots and roots. The protoplast culture is also one way of plant tissue culture. In this, cells are extracted from the meristematic region. These cells are making separated from the cell wall and cell membrane and then processed according to the need for developing genetic level modifications or different other types of cloning methods. Now the third is the cloning. What does the cloning mean is here it's a basic technique through which we can develop different kinds or different varieties of any particular plant species. But since all these three techniques can be explained in the later chapters of the biology of your syllabus, so we will deal these topics later on. I hope all these concepts, all these topics will help you in understanding the chapter. So from my side, thank you for right now. Hello everyone. Now I am going to start with the second part of this chapter, that is sexual reproduction. So let's begin with it. Sexual reproduction. What does this term means? It means that there is an involvement of two individuals which have the capability to produce some specialized cells that leads to the fertilization. Or instead of these individuals, we are having a one specialized organisms also. They are known as either bisexual or hermaphrodite. What are hermaphrodite? These are carrying both the type of gametes in a one single individual. So the basic concept behind the sexual reproduction is the gamete formation. What is gamete formation? We have already discussed in the earlier video. What is gamete formation? It is the formation of specialized cells which are haploid in genetic content and they are responsible for the mechanism of fertilization to show variations. The third most important thing is the word, that is variation. What is variation? That means the genetic constitution of the offspring shows some differences from their parent as they are developed from the combination or from the process of fertilization. So for understanding this whole concept, I would like to describe some of the duration of our life which is responsible for showing how the developmental changes help in the formation or doing the process of sexual reproduction. The basic phase of our life is known as juvenile phase. It is a phase in which only the growth and maturity of an organism takes place. That means when we are a kid or we are small, we are showing or categorize ourselves in a juvenile phase. In this phase, all the reproductive organs start developing, showing growth and development. The second phase is known as reproductive phase. During this phase, what is happening? The formation of the gamete start in the reproductive organs. As a result, what will happen? These gametes will make the organism capable of undergoing the process of fertilization and producing the offsprings. During this reproductive phase, there are many hormonal changes also occurs. In the same manner, when this reproductive phase ends up, the phase begins in any organism is senescence. Senescence is having a other name that is known as aging. During this aging process, what will happen? The reproductive capability of the organism reduces. And finally, the level of gamete formation or the capability of the gamete formation reduces in every individual. Finally, it's the end of the life, that is death. Anyways, when these all phases are running in an individual, they all shows many modifications during the sexual reproduction. Whatever the events are going to take place in the sexual reproduction, that we must have to understand. Basically, we said that the events, they are pre-fertilization, fertilization and post-fertilization events. What is happening in the pre-fertilization event? The first step that occurs is known as gametogenesis. If I divide this word as gameto and genesis, that means gamete formation takes place. In case of animals, the females can produce ovum and egg cell, and the mechanism is, instead of calling gametogenesis, known as oogenesis. But in case of males, they are producing sperm, so the method is known as spermatogenesis. In the same manner, the plants shows ovule production for the female production or female gametes production. Hence, it is known as megasporogenesis. And in case of male reproductive cells in plants, known as pollen grains, and these are known as, the concept is known as microsporogenesis. Since all these terms are completely associated with gametogenesis, so as the first step ends up, gametes are already produced by the particular organism. Since these gametes are formed, they start showing the transfer, which is known as gamete transfer. The gametes start moving from their respective places and going or initiating the process of fertilization. That means the male gamete and female gamete must have to fuse together. Once the fusion mechanism starts, we said that the next event takes place known as fertilization. During that fertilization or syngamy, the process of fusion of the gametes takes place. What will happen during the syngamy? Either it happens in an external fertilization manner or in an internal fertilization manner. When it is a concept of external fertilization, it means that the fertilization mechanism occurs outside the body of the female, like in case of bony fishes or in case of amphibians. But internal fertilization is a specialized process which occurs inside the body of the females, like humans and different other organisms. One more term I would like to describe here is known as parthenogenesis. What is parthenogenesis? Parthenogenesis is a one process which help in indicating that there are some of the gamete cells which, without showing the mechanism of fusion, start developing the reproductive, post-reproductive structures. Like if I talk about parthenogenesis, it is mostly shown by the banana, apple, many more others. We will study this parthenogenesis concept once more again when we talk about the reproduction in plants. So let's begin with the third event. That third event is known as post-fertilization step. What is happening during the post-fertilization step? That is the zygote formation. Once the fusion of male and female gametes takes place, they start developing the zygote. These zygote are the unicellular structure which carries the fused nucleus of both male and female gametes. This zygote start showing the cellular division and develop a one structure that is known as embryo. So embryogenesis is a process in which development and formation of embryo takes place. This is a one significant step of any reproductive activity which help in identifying the evolutionary concept of any species. Anyways, for detailing this one, we will study it later on. Oviparous and viviparous, these are the terms which are clearly explaining after the embryogenesis what are the end products. If the embryo develops into a form of egg, an organism produced egg itself or lays eggs, then that organism is known as oviparous, like birds and reptiles. In the same as that of viviparous, in that one case, the organism produces a complete new offspring. Then, like in case of humans and different other organisms like cat, dog, rat, giraffe, etc., we all are considered to be as viviparous. Here, I would like to point out a one step that during these events in the sexual reproductive stages, the most important activity which is shown by the females are either the menstrual cycle formation or the stress cycle formation. That means these are the basic cycles which run in the females of any particular species of higher group of organisms, which help in indicating that they are showing proper reproductive growth. These two terms, menstrual cycle and oestrus cycle, we people will study in the later chapters of reproduction in humans. Anyways, now further, in case of plants, if we talk about, ovule is a female reproductive part which after the fertilization start developing or leading to the formation of seeds, while in case of ovary they also start developing into a fruit. Since flower is the reproductive part of the plant, they usually considered to be as complete when they are bisexual. It means male and female, both the parts are present within the same flower. So once the fertilization occurs, the ovule start developing the seed and ovary start developing the fruit. As a result, after the fruiting, we said that the reproduction ends in a plant. In short, I can say the events which are finally responsible for completing any reproductive activity, that is sexual basically, needs pre-fertilization event, then fertilization event, and finally the post-fertilization event. I hope students you are able to understand the complete chapter easily with this video. Thank you and have a nice day.